My name is Sarah. I am 20 years old, and for as long as I can remember, my life has felt like one long to-do list that only I can see. A list no one else reads, no one else checks off, but everyone benefits from. While my younger siblings laugh in the living room, sprawled across the couch with controllers in their hands, and my mom sits scrolling on her phone like the house magically runs itself, I am the one standing at the sink. I am the one scraping dried food off plates, dragging heavy trash bags down the hallway, folding laundry that is never mine. I am the one staying up past midnight, fixing the mess everyone else pretends does not exist. Asterisk, it did not start all at once. It never does. It starts with small things. Can you just help this one time? You are so responsible. You are the oldest. You are better at this. Somewhere along the way, help became expectation, and expectation became entitlement.
And I
Did it. Every time. Because saying no felt worse than being exhausted. Because I was taught that being a good daughter meant being useful, quiet, grateful, and invisible all at the same time. Asterisk, the night everything finally snapped did not come with fireworks or warnings. It came with a stack of greasy plates slipping in my hands. I slammed them onto the counter harder than I meant to, the sound sharp and ugly in the quiet kitchen. My chest was tight, my head buzzing, my hands shaking with soap still on them. And for the first time, I said it out loud, not softly, not as a joke, not wrapped in apologies. Asterisk, why am I the only one doing everything? Asterisk, no one answered. Not really. There was a shrug from the couch, an eye roll, a laugh like I had just said something ridiculous. When I pushed again, when I dared to say it was unfair, I did not get an apology or even a conversation. I got the same sentence I had heard my whole life. You are too sensitive. Those 3 words hit harder than any slammed door ever could. Because they did not just dismiss my feelings, they erased them. In that moment, standing there with soap on my hands and my heart pounding, I realized something that scared me more than the mess around me. They did not just expect me to do everything. They expected me to stay quiet about it forever. Asterisk, I stood there thinking, if I do not move now, this will be my life for the next 10 years. Maybe longer. College would end, jobs would change. But I would still be here, cleaning up after everyone, fixing what they broke, holding everything together while being told I was lucky to be needed. Asterisk, so that night while they brushed me off and went back to their screens, I made a decision I had never let myself imagine before. I did not announce it. I did not threaten it. I did not cry about it. I just started planning my exit. Asterisk, within hours I would be gone. And the girl they called too sensitive was about to become the one person they could no longer live without. Asterisk, if you have ever felt like the unpaid maid of your own family, stay with me. Because what happened next changed everything. Asterisk, the day everything finally exploded did not look special on the calendar. No holiday, no birthday. Just another weekday that would have been forgotten if it had not split my life cleanly into before. And after asterisk, I had been on campus since 8 that morning. Lecture after lecture. A quiz I barely had time to study for. A group project where I did most of the work, because of course I did. Then a rush sandwich eaten standing up in the break room at my job. By the time my shift ended, my feet ached and my brain felt like it was vibrating inside my skull. Asterisk, I remember thinking, if I can just get home and lie down for 30 minutes, I will survive. Asterisk, I opened the apartment door and knew instantly that 30 minutes was never going to happen. Asterisk, the smell hit me first. Old food, dirty socks, something sticky that should not have been sticky. The living room looked like a tornado had passed through and decided to move in permanently. Game controllers scattered across the floor. Cups balanced on every surface. An entire bag of chips crushed deep into the couch cushions. Asterisk, for a second, I just stood there. Backpack digging into my shoulder. Keys still in my hand. Staring. Asterisk, you know that feeling when you are so tired your body goes cold instead of hot? That hollow, numb exhaustion where even anger feels like too much effort. That was me. Asterisk, I dropped my keys onto the table. They bounced off a stack of mail. overdue notices, utility bills. Things I recognized because I was the one who normally sorted them, paid them, tracked them. Things no one else had even touched. Asterisk from the other room, I heard laughter. A video blasting loudly. I walked into the living room and stepped on a plastic cup. It cracked under my shoe. No one even turned around. Asterisk, can you pause that for a second? I said. My voice sounded too calm in my own ears. One head turned slightly. What? Asterisk, I took a breath I could not afford. I had tried the emotional way 1,000 times, begging, explaining, crying. This time, I wanted it simple, factual, impossible to ignore. Asterisk, look around, I said. I got home from work 5 minutes ago. Who do you think is going to clean all of this? Asterisk, silence. Then a shrug. Asterisk, I do not know. Not me. I had a long day too. Asterisk, something inside me snapped so cleanly it almost felt quiet. I walked over to the TV and pressed the power button. The screen went black. Now I had their full attention. Asterisk, I am done, I said. We are making a chore plan today. No more me doing everything while you do nothing. I'm in school. I work. I am not your maid. Asterisk. The complaints started immediately. Why are you freaking out? You always do this. It is just a mess. You are being dramatic. Asterisk. Then my mom walked in, wiping her hands on a towel like she had been busy in the kitchen, even though I could see the takeout containers behind her. Asterisk, what is going on now? Asterisk, I turned to her. What is going on is that I am burning out. I go to class, I work. I do the laundry, the dishes, the cleaning, the bills. They do nothing. You let them do nothing. And when I say anything, you tell me I am too sensitive. Asterisk, she frowned like I had insulted her. Sarah, you know that is not true. I do a lot around here. And you are the oldest. You are supposed to set an example. Asterisk, set an example. I repeated. Of what? Letting people walk all over you. Teaching them that if they ignore a problem long enough, someone else will fix it. Asterisk, the room went quiet in that heavy way that means something ugly is coming. But I kept going. I had already lost the piece of myself that tried to keep the peace. Asterisk, I pulled a notebook from my bag, sat at the table and started drawing a simple chart. Dishes, trash, laundry, floors, 3 columns, 7 rows. I wrote my name at the top of one column and left the others blank. Asterisk, we are doing this like adults, I said. Everyone takes responsibility. Asterisk, my siblings groaned. My mom crossed her arms. This is ridiculous. They are busy. They have school activities. Asterisk, I stared at her. I have school and a job, and I am still doing all of this. If they are old enough to leave cups everywhere and eat on the couch, they are old enough to rinse a plate and take out the trash. Asterisk, she rolled her eyes. There it was. That look that said, here she goes again. Asterisk, you really need to calm down, she said. You are making a scene over nothing. Nothing. My time. My energy. My mental health. Nothing. Asterisk, my voice dropped lower, steadier. I'm not making a scene. I am drawing a line. I will not keep living like this. And then she said the sentence that turned a fight into a decision. If you do not like it here, you can leave. Asterisk, for years that line had been a threat. A way to shut me up. A reminder that I was dependent and replaceable. This time it landed differently. Instead of fear, I felt clarity. I looked at her and nodded. All right, I said. Maybe I will. Asterisk, she blinked. Do not be ridiculous. Asterisk, I am not, I said. I am taking you at your word for once. Asterisk, inside me something settled. The noise faded. The choice was made. I walked back to my room and closed the door behind me. The sounds from the living room didn't stop. Laughter, a game loading screen, someone yelling at the TV. The world kept spinning like nothing had happened. But inside me everything was different. My hands were still shaking, but not from fear. From adrenaline. From the realization that I had finally crossed a line I could never uncross. Asterisk, my room was small. Barely space for a bed, a dresser, and a tiny desk pushed against the wall. But it was the only place in the apartment that felt even remotely like mine. I leaned my back against the door and slid down until I was sitting on the floor. For the first time, I asked myself a question I had always avoided. Asterisk, what if I really leave? Asterisk, not someday. Not when things calm down, not when I am stronger. What? If I leave now? Asterisk, the idea should have terrified me. Instead, it felt sharp and clear like cold air in my lungs. Scary, yes. Hard, definitely, but possible. And once something becomes possible, it is impossible to unsee it. Asterisk, I grabbed my phone. There was one person I knew I could text without being told I was dramatic or ungrateful. Mia. She worked with me at the cafe. The one who always joked that I basically had 2 full-time jobs, school and being my family's unpaid housekeeper. Asterisk, I typed, deleted, typed again. Asterisk, can I ask you something insane? Her reply came almost instantly. Those are my favorite questions. What happened? Asterisk, I told her everything. The mess, the fight, the chore chart, the sentence that changed everything. You can leave if you don't like it here. And then the part. I had barely admitted to myself. I think I actually want to go. She didn't send pity. She didn't tell me to calm down. She didn't say family is family. She sent one sentence that loosened something in my chest. Asterisk. Then let's figure out how. Asterisk. While my family sat in the living room, assuming I would cool off and come back to scrub their plates. I sat on my bed and opened a new tab on my phone. Rooms for rent near campus. I wasn't starting from zero. I had some savings from the cafe. Not much, but enough for a deposit if I found something small. I had my own paycheck. I had a boss who liked me and would give me extra hours if I needed them. Asterisk, scrolling through listings, I remembered every time. I had thought, I wish I could leave. And every time I had forced myself to stop dreaming because it hurt too much. Asterisk, this time, I didn't stop. Asterisk, one place caught my eye. Tiny room. Shared apartment. Old building. But 3 subway stops from campus. And cheaper than I expected. The picture showed bare white walls, a narrow bed, a small window. Asterisk, it didn't look like much. But in my head, it looked like freedom. Asterisk, people always say they would never survive without me. I used to think that was dramatic. Standing there, phone glowing in my dark room, I realized it was just true. My family didn't see half of what I did, the bills I tracked, the emails I answered, the late fees I prevented, the calls I made when something broke. Asterisk, if I left, the house wouldn't burn down. But their comfort would. Asterisk, and for the first time, I wanted them to feel the weight I had been carrying alone. Asterisk, I messaged the landlord, half expecting no reply. Instead, my phone rang. Asterisk, we have 1 room left, he said calmly. You can see it tonight. If you want, tonight. My heart started racing. I glanced at the clock. If I left now, I could make it. Asterisk, I told my mom I was going for a walk. She didn't even look up from her phone. Take your keys. Don't be late. Asterisk, if she had looked at my face, really looked, she might have noticed something was different. But she didn't, and that hurt more than I expected. Asterisk, the room was exactly like the pictures. Small, quiet, plain. The landlord explained the rules, the rent, the deposit. I answered automatically, my mind replaying the words that had pushed me here. You are too sensitive. If you don't like it, leave. Asterisk, do you want it? He asked. Someone else is interested this weekend. Asterisk, yes, I said. I want it. When I walked out, I was holding keys that did not belong to my mother's apartment. Back home. I closed my door and pulled out a duffel bag, clothes, laptop, documents, things I had bought with my own money. I wasn't running away. I was moving out. Asterisk, guilt tried to creep in. What if they can't handle it? What if everything falls apart? Then another thought answered back, clear and sharp. Maybe it needs to. Asterisk, I zipped the bag and stepped into the hallway. My mom called from the couch without turning around. Asterisk, where are you going with that bag? This time, I didn't lie. I'm doing what you told me to do, I said. You said if I don't like it here, I can leave. So I'm leaving today. She finally looked at me. Her face went from confident to terrified in seconds. Asterisk, that's not funny. She said, put the bag down. Asterisk, I'm not joking. I found a room. I signed for it. I have keys. Asterisk, my siblings stared like I had announced I was moving to another planet. You're not serious. You're abandoning your family. I'm leaving before I lose myself completely. Asterisk, I put the unpaid bills on the table. From now on, I said, you handle this. All of it. Asterisk, then. I walked out. That night, sleep did not come easily. Every time I closed my eyes, my mind replayed the scene in the living room. My mom's crossed arms, the shrug, the way no one believed I would actually leave. I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the apartment settling, the TV murmuring in the background, laughter drifting down the hallway. It was strange knowing that while they relaxed, my entire life was quietly rearranging itself. Asterisk, in the morning, nothing had changed. On the outside, the same mess, the same noise, the same expectations hanging in the air like they always had. No one apologized. No one brought it up. That silence told me everything I needed to know. They were waiting for me to fall back into place. I got dressed, went to class, went to work, and came home knowing it would be one of my last nights there. The apartment felt smaller, tighter, like it was trying to pull me back into a version of myself I had already outgrown. When I closed my bedroom door again, it didn't feel like hiding anymore. It felt like preparing. Asterisk, I texted Mia updates throughout the day, the viewing, the keys, the plan. She sent encouragement, practical advice, reminders to breathe. Having someone believe me without questioning my sanity felt like oxygen. Asterisk, that evening, while my family argued over what to watch on TV, I quietly started packing. Not dramatically, not angrily, carefully, like someone who knew this moment mattered. I folded clothes slowly, choosing only what I actually wore. I gathered documents I had been keeping safe for everyone, my laptop, my chargers, the things I had paid for myself. Every item felt like a small declaration of independence. Asterisk, guilt came in waves. It whispered that I was selfish, dramatic, ungrateful. Then reality answered back. Selfish people don't burn themselves out keeping everyone else comfortable. Ungrateful people don't sacrifice years of their lives hoping things will change. Asterisk, when I finally zipped the bag, I didn't feel brave. I felt calm. And that scared me more than fear ever had. Asterisk, walking out of that apartment felt unreal. Like stepping out of a role I had memorized so well I didn't know who I was without it. My mom's voice followed me down the hallway, sharp and confused, demanding explanations I no longer owed. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I had already said everything that needed to be said. Asterisk, the subway ride felt endless and instant at the same time. My reflection in the window looked different, tired, yes, but lighter. Like someone who had finally stopped holding their breath. When I reached my new place and unlocked the door, the silence inside hit me hard. Asterisk, no clutter. No chaos, just a narrow bed, blank walls, and possibility. Asterisk, I sat down and let myself cry. Not because I wanted to go back, but because leaving meant accepting that things would never be the same again. That kind of change deserves tears. Asterisk, the messages started almost immediately.
Confused questions, accusations, panic disguised as anger.
I read them without replying right away. For the first time, I gave myself permission to pause. Asterisk, when I finally answered, my words were short and steady. You can handle this. Look at the bills. Call the numbers. Read the instructions. You are capable. They didn't like that answer. The next few days were uncomfortable in ways I hadn't expected. Freedom felt good, but it also felt lonely. I missed my siblings in small moments. I missed the version of my mom I wished she could be. But every time doubt crept in, another message arrived reminding me why I left. They weren't missing me. They were missing what I did for them. And that difference mattered. A week passed. Then another. Slowly, the tone of the messages changed. Less anger, more confusion, real questions this time. How do you make a grocery list? How often do you clean the bathroom? What does rent actually include? Asterisk, I answered what I could without stepping back into the role I had escaped. Advice, not action. Guidance, not rescue. It was harder than I expected. Saying no always is ... asterisk, then came the message that made my stomach drop. The rent is late. Mom thought you paid it. Asterisk, late rent meant consequences, fees, warnings, real fear. The old version of me would have transferred money instantly just to make the stress stop. Instead, I asked a question I had never been allowed to ask before. Asterisk, what's your plan? Asterisk, the silence stretched. Then the truth came out. They were selling things, cutting expenses. My mom was picking up extra shifts. They were scrambling, asterisk, and for the first time, someone said it. We didn't realize how much you were doing. I didn't feel victory. I felt sadness. It shouldn't have taken this for them to see me. A few days later, there was a knock on my door. My mom stood there, looking tired in a way I had never seen before. Not angry, not defensive, just worn down. She looked around my tiny room and finally understood something she never had before. Asterisk, I had built a life. Inside spaces she never noticed. Asterisk, she apologized without excuses. Quietly. Honestly, she admitted. She had relied on me because it was easier than changing. Because I was strong. Because I didn't complain loudly enough to be taken seriously. Asterisk, I told her my boundaries. Clearly. Calmly. I would not move back. I would not become the fixer again. I would be her daughter, not her safety net. Asterisk, she agreed. And for once I believed her. Asterisk, when I visited the apartment weeks later, it was different, not perfect, but functional. A chore chart on the fridge with everyone's name on it. Mine missing. That was the moment I understood the truth. Walking away wasn't revenge. Asterisk, it was proof. Proof that I wasn't imagining things. Proof that my exhaustion was real. Asterisk, proof that love should never require erasing yourself. Asterisk, sometimes. The only way people understand your value is when you stop giving it away for free. Asterisk, if you're listening to this and wondering whether you're selfish or brave for wanting more, let me tell you this. Choosing yourself is not abandonment. It's survival. Asterisk, and sometimes, survival is the most powerful thing you can do.